Chapter 5, Going Higher, Stages 3 and 4, the shifting stage. The third stage I propose is the shifting stage. In this stage, the concept of the self shifts more. The more you give to others in the giving stage, the less there seems to be a me and you, and the more you can feel the interconnection between yourself and others. During the transition between the giving and shifting stages, you may start to see yourself in others. You begin to feel less that there is a you and others, and more that others are part of you and you are part of them. Giving to another becomes the same as giving to yourself. During the transition into the shifting stage, your sense of self shifts. You start to see that you are not just you are the whole freaking everything. You expand your vision to see that you are part of a larger stream of energy and all that exists. You are an energetic being and exist in something so much greater than you may have realized. In this stage, your view of reality is shifting, and you are starting to see how everything is actually here to help you evolve and grow to your highest purpose and highest level of self. There begins to be a shift from 1, wondering, why is this happening to you? To 2, determining how to transform an experience so it's not hurting you. And 3, realizing there is more going on in reality than just your individual perspective. There are larger forces organizing and supporting your life for some bigger purpose. These larger forces push you towards greater levels of personal development, growth, and insight into the nature of reality through every event you experience. It is called the shifting stage because your concept of self shifts. In the first stage, you see everything as happening to you and are very self-focused. Your concept of things outside of you is how they benefit you, are neutral to you, or hurt you. In essence, the world mostly revolves around you and the things that are happening to you. This may sound narcissistic, but it isn't entirely. It's more about a fear of survival and fear of the self being okay. In the second stage, the giving stage, you wake up to see that the world is not just about you and the things happening to you. In the giving stage, you see the world is also about others, and that others suffer as you do. Essentially, you see that we are all in this together. There is no one who does not have to navigate the human condition and experience pain from being human. In the third stage, the shifting stage, you go beyond seeing yourself and others. In Buddhism, this is referred to as stream entering, where you see and experience that life is a flow, a collective stream of consciousness and energy. In the third stage, you see that there is more than you or others. There is all of reality and life, and it is all one energy that flows. In the shifting stage, there is no real separation between you and others. When you have the experience of truly getting yourself out of the way, you are opened up to the grand reality of the vastness of being. You have the realization that everything is in fact energy, and you are a manifestation of this energy. Beyond this, what you think of as yourself has more than just the outer physical projection of yourself. What you are, in another possibly more important way, is an energy body. Your repeating, conscious and unconscious, thoughts, feelings, and emotions create a cycle of patterns. It's like a reoccurring loop that repeats itself and appears to form a personality or self. Similar to a software program downloaded onto a computer, the self is in fact a pattern of behaviors, perspectives, thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. This does not mean the self is not real. The self is very important for functioning in the world. However, there is more to you than just the small self, and a life lived only knowing the small self and the perspective of the small self is not a full life. There is so much more beyond this. When going through the shifting stage, you learn that there is so much more than just your own perspective. There is a connection and unity with all of reality. When you get out of the way, your eyes are open to an amazing number of things you never saw or experienced before. You start to see that you are part of the expression of everything that exists and could exist. With this vision and insight, there is also a shift into seeing that everything is energy and expression. Specifically, it is comprised of the energy of love, and everything is a field of love in manifested form. Like layers of vision or lenses, at the different layers, you begin to understand that everything is in fact love. On the most obvious outer level, everything appears to be physical and solid. However, there are more layers than this. When you are in the shifting stage, you are shifting from 1, seeing life as only about me, to 2, doing things for others, to 3, a deeper level of reality that has always been there but was somehow unable to be experienced before. It's like cracking through a shell where you see reality as 1 me, 2 others, or the physical, then 3 something beyond all of that but within that. The reason there is so much focus from many spiritual teachers on the present moment is largely that it is an entrance point for getting past the attachment to me and others in physical reality. When individuals focus on the present moment, the patterns, behaviors, thoughts, and feelings of the self are dismantled while in that state. In the present moment, the harmful repeating patterns existing in physical reality lose their power and momentum. In a true present moment state, the identity of the self takes a vacation, and it doesn't usually need to be functioning for any real reason. More than this, in the present moment, the experience of separation, isolation, attachment, and judgment slows. It is an opening to experiencing that which is beyond the physical and for getting the self out of the way. Practicing the present moment and living in the present moment is a powerful way to go beyond the normal cycles and traps we often fall into with our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. The present moment is a pattern breaker. It brings notice, attention, and awareness to any situation. In the light of awareness, many harmful patterns and negative things cannot survive. The infinity stage. The infinity stage. Beyond the experience of realizing me and then others, and then shifting perspective, there is more. There continues to be more. This includes experiencing all of life as a flow, a stream of energy. The experience of this flow can come sooner, but it has greater significance from different perspectives. Eventually, it shifts so you become the flow itself and openness itself. Becoming the flow itself means there is an energy that flows through you and picks up speed. This is the 4th stage, or the infinity stage. In this stage, you understand deeper levels of manifestation, quantum shifting, and the power that our words, thoughts, writing, and imagination have. Becoming the flow means that time shifts so that every moment feels like infinity and the present moment, and yet things shift very quickly. Synchronicity happens instantly, and almost as soon as you think or need something, it often somehow appears. Reality shifts from things happening to you in the victim stage to you becoming a smaller determinant of reality itself within the larger field of reality. It is not exactly like reality is a projection or a movie, as many have discussed, particularly Buddhists. This is one way of seeing it, but it is more that reality can be shifted differently than just by force, as has been thought in the past. There is much more than force. Force will become increasingly ineffective in the future as we progress further into understanding energy and the importance of energy and intention as a powerful determinant in the form reality takes. The openness comes from also being open to whatever other information or insights are yet to come. One of the issues with the stages is they are not necessarily linear. They are more complicated and multifaceted than this. It is possible that someone can experience and have insights regarding the self and others, then shift into seeing and experiencing reality as a field of energy in manifested form, as well as a field of love. Even then, someone can still fall back into stage 1 in certain things and fall back into the self-focused me perspective. This is okay. The best perspective to take with this is a non-judgmental and open perspective. However, the process of becoming a fuller version of you occurs. It is always perfect and okay. Maintaining a sense of openness and humility is important to remain beyond the me and others stage. Humility is useful because it helps to bypass many of the issues of me. However, this humility is not self-effacing or judgmental of the self. It is more of an open humility. In the infinity stage, you begin to experience, understand, see, and know that there is no actual separation between you and others, all of life, and everything you can see and not see. This includes everything that will be has been, or could be. There are endless opportunities. The reality of life is that it is limitless and comprised of limitless energy. You are a manifestation of that energy. You are open to whatever may come or could come in the future and no longer feel afraid of anything. If fear arises, you merely notice it and see it as an energy to be intentionally transformed. Feeling fear or other emotions should not cause fear. In this stage, the realizations of the third stage and the flow of life continue and expand outward. The flow and expansion increase further until you see and realize that everything is infinite. Everything is an energetic field of love in both unmanifested and manifested forms. There is a deep stillness within you and within this energy. And from all stillness arises form and movement. Another way of understanding the fourth stage of openness, infinity, and a field of love is that life is like a canvas with a painting on it. The canvas is the unmanifested form. The painting is what manifests into form. There are many unformed possibilities. In fact, it is arguable there are infinite unformed possibilities. Living in a state of being is the best way to access the insight and connection to this other dimension of living. Participating in retreats and practicing living in the present moment are wonderful ways to drop into this space. There, we can connect with the dimension of ourselves and life that is beyond the physical manifestation of form that we see and the stories we attach to that form. It is a seeing beyond our normal seeing. Important considerations for stages 3 and 4, namelessness and flow. Namelessness. An important part of shifting into the perspectives that encompass the third and fourth stages is namelessness and flow. This refers to a detached, peaceful perspective without attached labeling and categorization. This means living in a way that is open and in connection and rhythm with something greater than yourself and even others. I remember having some experiences seeing through the veil of projected physical reality as a child. When I was 7 or 8 years old, one of my favorite activities was lying in our hammock under the oak trees in my childhood home in California. I would just rock back and forth and stare at the leaves of the oak tree, the sky, and the clouds for hours. Sometimes I would rock, and sometimes I would just lay there. In those moments, I felt that there was no separation between me and the sky, the leaves, or the clouds. I felt and saw this amazing flow, peace, and harmony. It felt like being supported by some kind of state of bliss. It was perfection. I was lost in the sky, the clouds, the breeze, the smell of nature and trees. Time felt like it stopped, and all that I was experiencing was all that existed. I was gone and became whatever my consciousness focused on at the time. When I was 7 years old, we moved to a house in a more rural area, and at night the sky would light up with stars. It's not the same as going to the middle of a desert and seeing the stars at night, of course, but it was pretty spectacular for me. I also used to love to come out at night, breathe in the cool night air mixed in with a warm breeze during the summer, and stare up at the sky. I felt I was home, like somehow all of time and space stopped and I was completely one with everything I was experiencing and seeing. There seemed to be no separation between me and the stars, or me and the sky. It was like some kind of starry heaven, some sort of special bliss. I never talked about these experiences. Somehow, I felt others wouldn't understand. I was also private about them. I didn't announce to everyone that I was going outside to stare at the stars to feel unity, infinity, love, bliss, and timelessness with all that is. I didn't have words for it either. It just felt natural and personal, and something that called me to connect with it. I knew I was drawn to experiencing this namelessness and to not talk about it with anyone. Besides, we don't really have words to describe it accurately anyway. This nameless, wordless experience drew me to it as much as possible. I lived and experienced my own private heaven and unity. As I got older, the appearances of the outer world, the worry and pain of family, friends, and the stress of life activities started to creep in more, and these moments got lost, but not ever completely. I still continued to connect with the starry night and the unity of nature. I would also go on long runs in high school. I would take random, I suppose you could call them intuitive, pauses and just stare at a tree or stare at the sky and hills. I felt unity, infinity, and timelessness, and I was lost in these things. I was these things and they were me. Sometimes I would become so absorbed in it, my mom would worry because I would be running when I was 16 years old for 2 hours and get back when it was dark. I was running, but it was more of a spiritual practice for me. I would stop and stare at trees and the view of hills and nature around me for 30 minutes or more. I wanted to experience that unity and connection. I didn't really have words to express any of this or share it with anyone. To be honest, this is the first time I'm putting it all down on paper for someone to read. This was something I intuitively did and was drawn to doing regularly. No one taught me. It was a knowing and connection that I kept with me every day, no matter what was going on in my outer life. It was like food for me. I needed it and felt it called to me to connect with it daily. That connection and source are always with you. You just need to see it. Flow. Following through with purpose is the fastest way to connect deeply with the stream, with the flow, and to connect with greater insights about yourself. Something I have realized and come to terms with recently is that just because a person has a destiny or feels he or she has a mission to accomplish something, doesn't mean the person will do it. You may or may not, in fact, accomplish your mission or your purpose. You have to follow through with it and take appropriate action. Larger forces may support you, but in the end, you are the one who must close your eyes, step forward bravely, and act. You must actively create the space and commitment to fulfill your purpose in order to connect and understand it. One way to simply start is to drop into yourself or your soul every day. Sit quietly with yourself every day until you feel you are dropping into a deeper place of connectedness and can feel what your self is asking for. Write, journal, speak, or express yourself however you can, and whatever comes to you while paying attention to yourself and acting from this place of being. The deeper you drop into yourself and the stillness that exists within, the easier it is to see the layers and projections of the outer world fall away, so that the world becomes one field of the energy of love manifested in form. If this is confusing at all, that is totally okay. The important thing is that this is all experiential. The words here are just pointers to the experience. This is something that must be practiced, allowed in, and experienced. When you have experiences of flow, being in a stream of life and connected to that which is greater than you, don't cling to it. Like a butterfly, it must be okay for it to come and go. Cling to nothing, not even a field of love. This is part of the ongoing experience of integrating further and deeper into the experience that everything is one field of energy. Knowing that it is an integration process helps with allowing the ebbs and flows and the rising and falling tides of experience. No experience is forever. Everything is temporary. The only thing that lasts is the existence of this limitless energy field that we may get glimpses into. The deeper you drop within and drop into the stillness, the deeper you connect with unmanifested aspects of reality. The world is comprised of the manifested and unmanifested. The manifested, or the outer projection of reality, which appears solid and unchanging, comes from the unmanifested energy that comes forward into the world. To put it simply, everything is energy. The energy that has formed itself into solid appearing reality is the manifested energy, or energy that comes into form. The energy that we can't see yet and has not come into form is unmanifested. If this is confusing at all, that's okay. It will come in time. Take the perspective and belief that all of this isn't a big deal at all, and you always and easily understand and connect with it. If you hold a belief that this is confusing, you can't understand it or won't ever understand it. It just reinforces the experience. This negative belief keeps it farther from you, and the universe conforms to this belief. Our conscious and unconscious beliefs largely form our realities and the ongoing experience of our realities. Imagine every belief you have is a wish. What are you really wishing for? Take it lightly and choose your beliefs wisely. Infinity stage. Everything is energy in manifested form. As humans, we are very special. Every moment of our lives is best lived by being present and in the now. We are missing our lives if we are not fully living them in the present. However, our lives are much more than what we can see with our eyes, hear with our ears, or sense with our bodies. For example, reflect on an ant or a fish. An ant can only see and hear what an ant can see and hear, and a fish can only understand and see what it can see. A dog is more developed than either, but it also is limited in its perception and understanding of reality. Like the ant, the dog, or the fish, we can only experience what we can experience with our human senses. However, unlike the dog, fish, or ant, we can question our own reality and have insights into the nature of reality and why life is the way it is. We can have a level of introspection that no other creature on Earth can. We are special, extremely special. Please realize I am not saying we are special, meaning we are superior or should abuse or dominate other creatures. If anything, being special means we have a special responsibility to the Earth and everything on the Earth. In fact, many animals are more in the flow and in tune with larger universal forces than we are. We can say it is instinct, but it can be more than that. Look at the ways that fish swim in schools or birds fly in flocks. These things happen naturally and in flow with the rhythm of nature. However, we are special because we can reflect on the nature of the self, the nature of reality, and the meaning of others in our lives. We can reach the deepest realizations and inner understandings of any creature on Earth. Infinity stage, shifting up. The big breakthrough I had was that the Earth is not how we have been taught it is in school. Wait, what? What the hell is this girl saying? Well, I will walk you through it. First, please keep in mind that for a very long time, people thought that the Earth was flat, and if you sailed far enough on the water, you would fall off. Then it was a big deal when people said the Earth was round. This was blasphemy. It upset a lot of people. My own insight takes this some steps further. The Earth is round from the perspective of what our human eyes and brains can measure and understand. However, there is so much more than this. There is the collective world energy. There is the river beneath the river, or stream beneath the stream. The layer within and behind it is pure love energy. Seeing these layers of reality affects your daily reality and how you feel and see things. It's like being bathed in love energy all the time and seeing the two layers of reality mixed together. Being in the present moment is a critical component of diving into the field of the limitless love that is already all around you. By being happy and immersed in the present moment, you are in the now and connected to all that is. All of time exists now and is in the current moment. It does not exist outside of the present moment. All that is, everything that is in the future and past and across all time, dimension, space, and reality exists now and can be connected to and with now. The best way to practice being in the present moment is to practice mindfulness and train your mind to become aware of each and every moment that passes. This means watching each moment and understanding that reality is more like a cartoon with individual pictures, i.e., moments, being flipped through than it is a linear time. Reality is comprised of countless moments. The more aware we are of the moments, the more that time can seem to expand, and the deeper the experience that each moment can seem. In Auguries of Innocence, poet William Blake writes of a similar experience. To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. This is exactly the experience that can happen by looking at and shifting your observation of a table, for example. You can take any object, it doesn't matter. It can help if it is something that is more emotionally neutral. For example, if you are focusing on your favorite food, you may have many emotions, thoughts, feelings, or attachments to that food. If you focus on something you don't like or have an issue with, that can also evoke many emotions, thoughts, and feelings, and often resistance to those things. When starting out, I recommend writing daily affirmations and journaling things like the following. Of course, I see reality in all layers, lenses, and aspects of true reality. Of course, I always see everything completely and absolutely clearly. I love and am so excited by how clearly I see everything and the layers of reality I can so amazingly and clearly see. I can't believe how amazingly beautiful reality truly is. Reality is gorgeous, incredible, and full of love and wonder. Try different affirmations or journaling to discover which resonates most with you. The more you experience these affirmations and practice writing them regularly, the more affirmations will flow from and come to you. First, state the intention of what you want to experience and see, and make sure it connects and resonates with you. Next, I recommend choosing something neutral to begin observing and connecting with. Examples include a table, a chair, or a jacket. It is helpful if you feel neutral about the object, which means there aren't a lot of feelings, images, or reactions about it. You can just look at it and observe it as it is. This means you are looking at the projection, at the image you are seeing of a table, a chair, a jacket, or whatever you chose to observe. A meditation practice where you keep your eyes open but resting still on an object can be effective for this. Now, you may need to look at this object for 5 minutes a day, for 1 hour a day, or maybe for 8 hours straight. I once did a 30-day silent meditation retreat where we were instructed to stare, just stare, at a tree while sitting in a chair for 3 days straight. We took breaks for eating, sleeping, and going to the bathroom. Otherwise, we sat for 3 days, stared at the trees, and concentrated on one particular tree. As time passed, we began to see it as a projected image of a tree. In fact, that is the breakthrough. Everything is a projected image. Throughout and within the projected image is energy. Beautiful, pure energy. Beautiful, pure light is interwoven throughout and within everything. Within this beautiful, pure energy that comprises and makes up all that exists, will exist, and has existed, is an overflowing, beautiful energy of love, pure love. This is the feeling and experience of pure, limitless, amazing love. You can increase your level of practice and further integrate foundational principles by practicing this love perspective on yourself with romantic relationships, friendships, work situations, and things that cause pain.